I need everyone to, like, pull the car over right now. Turn off the treadmill. Just look at me.
Stop whatever you're doing. Seriously.
Because my entire understanding of the space-time continuum and, like, pop culture history has just been fundamentally shattered.
Oh, completely destroyed. It is a paradigm shift.
We are talking about Madonna, the actual undisputed queen of pop, sitting on a promotional video for the dating app Grindr.
Of all places.
Right. Surrounded by Bob the drag queen and Jeremy O'Harris.
Yep.
And she just casually, with the flippancy of ordering an iced oat milk latte, whispers that the most spectacular romantic encounter of her entire life was with John F. Kennedy Jr.
Just dropping it like it's nothing.
I am physically clutching my pearls. Like, the historical weight of this confession just being tossed into the digital ether on a Wednesday afternoon, I am unwell.
It is a masterclass in the currency of chaos, which is exactly what we're going to dissect today. Because think about the mechanics of what she just did.
Totally.
She is promoting her 15th studio album. The standard playbook for that is, like, a highly manicured Vogue cover.
Or a boring late-night interview.
Exactly. Instead, she bypasses traditional media entirely, partners with a queer dating app, and drops a piece of lore that surgically connects 1980s pop royalty with the closest thing America has to actual political royalty.
It's insane.
It's not just a fun fact. It's a calculated detonation designed to hijack the algorithm.
And it worked, because I haven't stopped thinking about it for 48 hours. But before we completely unravel the fabric of celebrity control today, babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And babes, we're so glad to have you.
We're so thrilled to have you in the trenches with us this morning.
Babes, the iced coffees are on deck. And honestly, this morning has been amazing.
A literal gift.
Because, babes, the blogs are dropping news like it's Christmas morning, and we are absolutely living for it.
The gossip economy is heavily stimulated right now.
Yeah.
We are operating at a massive surplus.
I am already unhealthily attached to every single headline. I woke up so early before the sun was even, like, pretending to rise, and my thumb just automatically went to the refresh button on my phone.
It's a reflex at this point.
It really is. There is this electric, almost illicit thrill about weekend gossip. During the week, the crisis management teams are sitting in their glass conference rooms, tightly controlling the narrative.
But on a Saturday...
On a Saturday, it feels like the inmates are running the asylum. I am deeply emotionally invested in the unraveling lives of people I have never met, and I refuse to feel guilty about it.
It's the unfiltered hour. You are witnessing the raw breakdown of PR infrastructure. And while you are reveling in the sheer entertainment value of the mess...
Which I am.
I am treating this entire enterprise like a full-time, peer-reviewed research project. Because a weekend news dump isn't just an accident.
No, it's a lifestyle.
It's a sociological event.
Yeah.
It is when the facade cracks.
We have a very busy Saturday ahead of us, because today is our niece's 14th birthday party.
Yes, the main event.
And babes, we are so excited.
I would use the word bracing. But yes, excited is also technically true.
Just to set expectations for the Snark squad, our updates might be a little light this weekend because family comes first today.
Absolutely.
But babes, just know we will absolutely keep everyone updated whenever we can, because let me tell you, the party planning exhaustion is a very real, very heavy blanket over my life right now.
You are spiraling.
I am. Do you understand the psychological warfare of trying to entertain Gen Z teenagers? I am desperately praying the weather holds up, because if it rains and I trap 30 14-year-olds inside my house, the judgment will be palpable.
It will be a hostile environment.
I am trying so hard to project this effortless, cool auntie aura, and inside I am just weeping over how fast they grow up. I swear she was 6 years old 5 minutes ago.
The cool auntie aesthetic is a delicate ecosystem, and you are currently threatening it by, over-engineering the snack table.
I just want the charcuterie to look good.
But the anxiety is warranted. Teenagers are the ultimate vibe checkers. They do not miss a single micro-expression of adult panic.
Exactly. Okay, babes, we thought it would be fun to discuss the biggest life lessons we learned this week. Because, honestly, this week was chaos.
A sustained 5-day exercise in hubris and humbling, really.
Just to remind the audience of the baseline reality here, we are both dentists working at separate practices. We planned a 14-year-old's birthday party. We bought Pilates reformers. We attended DJ class. We've somehow survived all of it.
And survived is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
Yeah.
Let's unpack the collateral damage.
Let me go first, because my first major life lesson this week is deeply personal. Never trust yourself to plan a party without changing the theme at least 14 times.
I lost count after the glow-in-the-dark phase.
I have decision fatigue that borders on a clinical diagnosis. I started by pitching a vintage 90s grunge aesthetic. Then I spiraled, thinking, wait, these kids were born in 2012. They don't know what a flannel shirt is.
They literally don't.
So I pivoted to a neon glow-in-the-dark rave concept. Bought the black lights. Then I realized neon makes everyone look slightly jaundiced, so I scrapped that. And now we're doing this weird, ambiguous, chic outdoor garden thing that is basically just me hoping the pizza arrives on time.
What you're experiencing is the classic overcorrection loop.
It's exhausting.
You are trying to anticipate the critical gaze of a demographic you don't fully understand, so you keep abandoning your own vision. My first life lesson is somewhat related to self-delusion, actually.
Oh, do tell.
Buying fitness equipment instantly on a neurochemical level makes you think you are an elite athlete.
Oh my God, yes.
The second that Pilates reformer was assembled in my living room, my posture changed. I hadn't even touched a spring, but simply by coexisting in the same zip code as this piece of machinery, I felt morally and physically superior.
It's just sitting there mocking us.
The placebo effect of expensive athleisure hardware is terrifying.
But the delusion shatters the second you get on it,
Yeah.
which is my second life lesson. Pilates is significantly aggressively harder than it looks.
It's brutal.
The marketing for Pilates is entirely fraudulent. They show these serene women gently lengthening their limbs in sunlit studios. Nobody told me the reformer is essentially a medieval rack.
It's an absolute torture device.
There are leather straps, heavy metal pulleys, and these colored springs that feel like they're actively harboring a grudge against my inner thighs. I put on a YouTube tutorial, tried to do a simple carriage push, and my legs were vibrating like a tuned guitar string.
You're discovering the harsh realities of eccentric muscle contraction. It's designed to expose every micro-weakness in your body.
I am nothing but micro weaknesses.
Well, speaking of exposing weaknesses, my second life lesson involves our ill-fated DJ class.
Oh no, please.
Expensive DJ equipment does not magically impart technical proficiency or rhythm.
I can attest to this.
I walked into that class with a top-of-the-line Pioneer deck, assuming my excellent taste in music would naturally translate into seamless transitions. The reality,
Yeah.
I attempted to beat match a house track into an R&B vocal, and it sounded like two shopping carts colliding in a gravel parking lot.
I literally had tears in my eyes watching you try to find the drop. You were sweating.
The instructor just stared at me with pure pity. You cannot buy the ear. You have to earn it. And I am currently in severe musical debt.
You really are. But my third lesson goes right back to our current impending doom. Teenagers are just fundamentally cooler than adults, and it is a shift in the power dynamic that I am not ready for.
It's intimidating.
They have an entire lexicon that I am locked out of. Their skincare routines feature active ingredients I didn't know existed until dental school.
They are out here using retinol at 12.
Yes, and they look at adults not with anger, but with this devastating, pitying neutrality. I feel like I'm walking into a Shark Tank today, but the sharks are wearing baggy vintage denim and rolling their eyes at me.
The generational power shift is absolute. They are digital natives who have weaponized apathy.
Truly.
But my final life lesson of the week comes from our professional lives. Working in dental practices, you realize that every single micro-society, every office environment has exactly one keystone species.
The information broker.
Exactly. There is always one person, usually at the front desk or the lead hygienist, who single-handedly carries the entire gossip economy of the workplace.
Our front desk girl knows everything.
They know the marital strife, the credit scores, and the existential dread of every patient and every doctor. If they take a vacation, the entire social infrastructure of the office collapses. We must respect the sheer administrative power of the office gossip.
Brenda at our front desk could negotiate international peace treaties with the leverage she has on the neighborhood. It's terrifying. Honestly, babes, we have so much gossip to get through today. And these blogs did not come to play.
They really didn't.
So, babes, let's get into it.
Let's transition right into the absolute collapse of narrative control happening in reality television right now.
My jaw is completely unhinged over this reality TV mess because these people simply do not understand the concept of spatial awareness or public discretion.
Zero self-preservation.
Let's start with the secret lives of Mormon wives. Jordan Gatakara was just caught on video at a public bar on May 10th, aggressively, passionately making out with a mystery woman.
In a crowded room.
Yes, we are talking heavy PDA. And this is barely 2 months after he filed for divorce from Jessie Draper in March after a 5-year marriage. And let's not forget, Jessie had previously gone on the record accusing him of emotional abuse. I am absolutely floored by the audacity here.
It's wild.
The ink on the divorce filing isn't even dry, and he's swallowing someone's face in a crowded room with iPhones everywhere.
If we look at the mechanics of this, it's a total failure of self-preservation. When you are navigating a high-profile, contentious divorce,
Particularly on TV.
right, especially one stemming from a show whose entire premise is about community judgment and exposing hypocrisy,
Yeah.
your public behavior is your primary currency in family court and the court of public opinion.
Exactly.
Now, I read that sources close to him are leaking that he is just dating around and that the divorce is far from finalized, so he's doing nothing legally wrong.
Oh, please.
But legally wrong and optically disastrous are two very different things. He knows he is on a reality show. He knows the digital panopticon is always watching. Choosing to engage in performative PDA at a bar is either an act of supreme arrogance or a deliberate provocation meant to hurt his ex-wife.
I completely agree. It feels intentionally cruel. But hold on, because the twist is what really sent me over the edge.
The twist is chaotic.
Jessie is not sitting at home playing the weeping victim. She apparently hooked up with her own co-star's ex-husband, Miranda Hope's ex.
Keep it in the family, I guess.
And this is the detail that makes me want to study her brain in a lab. Jessie sent Miranda a bouquet of flowers to apologize.
A literal apology bouquet.
An apology bouquet for sleeping with her ex-husband. What is the floral arrangement for that? Do you send hydrangeas for infidelity? Do you write, "Hope these tulips make up for the betrayal" on the little card?
I think it was probably roses, but yes.
The toxicity required to think foliage fixes that kind of boundary crossing is astounding.
It is the absolute weaponization of etiquette. Sending an apology bouquet in this context isn't an act of genuine contrition. It's an assertion of dominance wrapped in socially acceptable packaging.
Right.
It forces the victim, Miranda, into a bizarre position where she has to receive a gift from the person who wronged her. It's performative guilt.
It's so passive-aggressive.
Exactly. But analytically, what we are seeing here is the cast of Secret Lives completely destroying the network's rollout strategy. Reality TV relies on holding the tension until the season airs.
But they can't help themselves.
This cast is bleeding their storylines into the real world in real time. By the time the reunion films, the audience will have already consumed the drama via TikTok leaks. Production companies are losing their grip on the narrative because the cast realizes that personal infamy on social media pays faster than a network episodic fee.
It's like trying to keep water in a paper bag. It's just leaking everywhere. And speaking of networks losing complete control before the cameras even roll, look at the absolute firestorm happening over at Peacock with Love Island USA.
A complete disaster.
They announced the cast for season 8, and within days they had to pull a girl named Vasana Montgomery entirely out of the villa. Why? Because the internet dug up private videos of her allegedly rapping the N-word to a song and another video of her just screaming the slur in an arcade while her friend played a game.
Just screaming it.
Peacock fired her immediately, but I am just stunned. How do you apply to be on national television knowing that kind of poison is sitting on a hard drive somewhere?
It exposes a massive systemic flaw in how casting agencies conduct modern background checks. Historically, a background check meant looking for criminal records and doing a cursory scrub of public-facing Instagram or Twitter accounts.
Which is bare minimum.
Right, but that methodology is obsolete. These videos of Vasana were reportedly from private Snapchat memories and close friends lists. Network vetting processes haven't evolved to match the reality of digital permanence.
They should have.
The casting departments don't have the legal authority or, frankly, the budget to hire digital forensics teams to crack into a 22-year-old's private group chats. They rely on the applicant's honesty, which is a disastrous strategy when fame is on the line.
I feel like I could find this stuff if you just gave me an hour and a burner account. And it's not even the first time this exact scenario has played out on this exact show. Last year, they had to fire Yulisa Escobar for the exact same offense, but hers was on a public podcast.
Missing public audio is unforgivable.
If you are missing public podcast audio, your vetting process isn't just flawed, it's non-existent. It's like trying to inspect the foundation of a house by only looking at the Zillow photos.
It's corporate negligence.
And now they have a current contestant, Kenzie Annis, catching heat because old photos surfaced of her posing with people wearing Magi gear. Her dad, Tim, actually had to release a public statement to the blogs insisting they aren't Trump supporters. Now, let's just focus purely on the pop culture mechanics here, completely leaving our own politics at the door.
Absolutely. We are neutral observers of the PR mess.
Right, we take no political sides here. We are just reporting the chaos. But the fact that a parent has to issue a crisis PR statement before episode 1 is a disaster for the show.
Exactly. Analyzing this purely through the lens of crisis management, it is a catastrophic loss of the launch narrative. Peacock spends millions on marketing to ensure the premiere conversation is focused on escapism, swimwear, and romantic entanglements.
Just hot people on a beach.
Instead, the cultural conversation surrounding their multi-million-dollar property is anchored in racial slurs and political polarization. When a contestant's father is acting as an impromptu press secretary, the network has ceded control.
It's so messy.
It proves that the concept of a digital footprint is no longer just a warning we give high schoolers. It is an active, immutable liability that corporate entities do not know how to manage.
The internet never loses, and it never forgets. Now, if reality stars are losing control of their narratives by accident, the A-listers are operating on a completely different chessboard. I want to talk about Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, this was fascinating.
Because she just gave a masterclass in reclaiming her own story. She was on the New York Times podcast, and she finally addressed the massive wave of backlash over that white baby doll dress she wore to the Spotify Billions Club event in Spain.
The internet was vicious about that dress.
Critics were ripping her to shreds, saying the dress looked like literal children's clothing and calling it highly inappropriate. And Olivia did not hold back. She said the discourse actively upset her.
And her articulation of why it upset her was deeply analytical and rooted in feminist critique. She pointed out a glaring societal hypocrisy regarding the policing of female bodies in pop music.
Exactly.
She noted that she can walk onto an arena stage wearing a sequin bra and micro shorts, and it is universally accepted. It aligns with the expected commodified sexuality of a female pop star. But the moment she fully covers her body in a vintage floral baby doll dress, the public projects this sinister, childlike inappropriateness onto her.
Yes, she went straight for the jugular and said that this kind of rhetoric is exactly what normalizes pedophilia in our culture.
It was a very strong statement.
She argued that we constantly feed young girls this toxic narrative that they have to be hyper-vigilant about what they wear, because if a grown man sexualizes them, society will somehow blame the floral dress instead of the man. I am standing on the table applauding her.
It was incredibly articulate.
The 90s kinder whore aesthetic, like the slip dresses, the baby doll cuts, the smudged eyeliner, has been a staple of grunge and punk rock for decades. She explicitly cited Courtney Love and Kathleen Hanna from Bikini Kill as her inspirations. Why are we suddenly pretending that a 21-year-old woman wearing a loose dress is committing a crime?
It's a double standard.
She said she felt cool, not sexy, and she is so right to protect her younger fan base from that disgusting victim-blaming rhetoric.
What she did was effectively flip the mirror back onto the critics. She refused to apologize for the garment and instead indicted the psychological state of the people who found the garment offensive.
That is high-level narrative control.
She's so smart.
But the true evidence of her media training came later in that exact same interview when she was presented with a massive trap. Oh, the Taylor question.
The interviewer inevitably brought up the rumored, long-standing feud with Taylor Swift, which, for context, originated when Taylor's team secured retroactive, highly lucrative writing credits and royalties for Olivia's breakout hit Deja Vu.
The tension there is so thick you could cut it with a knife. But Olivia's response? Flawless. She didn't get defensive, she didn't throw shade, she literally just brushed it off like a piece of lint on her sweater.
A total non-reaction.
She said she doesn't read too far into the internet theories, that rumors just come with the territory of being famous, and she delivered the kill shot. She said she simply doesn't have enough time in the day to worry about it.
Time, poverty.
Not enough time in the day. It was the most polite, devastating way of saying, I am entirely unbothered by this manufactured drama because I am too busy being a global superstar.
It was a surgical deflection. Notice what she didn't do. She didn't explicitly deny that there is tension, which prevents the media from calling her a liar if evidence ever surfaces.
Right, she kept her hands clean.
But she also didn't confirm it, starving the gossip blogs of a new headline. By claiming time poverty, suggesting her artistic pursuits and her focus on being kind occupy all her mental bandwidth, she positioned herself as the mature party. She essentially told the interviewer that the question itself was beneath her current operational level. It neutralized the Taylor Swift narrative without ever speaking poorly of Taylor Swift.
It was brilliant. But speaking of Taylor Swift, and speaking of men who desperately want to control the narrative but fail miserably, My blood pressure is spiking just thinking about Scooter Braun.
Oh boy, there we go.
He recently sat down for an interview on the Second Thought podcast. And the sheer, unadulterated revisionist history this man is attempting to spin is infuriating.
It's a PR masterclass in dilution.
He was discussing his private equity firm's $300 million purchase of Big Machine Records back in 2019, which included Taylor Swift's entire catalog of master recordings. And he's sitting on this microphone, playing the victim, claiming the purchase turned him into a villain overnight, and he legitimately doesn't understand why.
To understand the audacity, we have to look at his exact phrasing, because it is carefully constructed corporate evasion. He stated on the record that he legitimately doesn't know Taylor Swift.
Which is absurd.
He claimed they have maybe crossed paths 3 times in their entire lives, never shared a substantial conversation, and recalled one brief interaction at a private party where they supposedly expressed mutual utmost respect. His strategy here is to depersonalize the conflict.
But you can't depersonalize it. I disagree that this is just a smart PR strategy. I think it is genuine, insulated narcissism.
I mean, those two things aren't mutually exclusive.
How do you spend $300 million to acquire a woman's literal life's work, songs she wrote on her bedroom floor when she was a teenager, her actual diary entries, and then sit back and say, gee, I don't really know her. Why is everyone so mad? He knows exactly what he did.
Of course he does.
He didn't just buy a widget factory. He bought the deeply personal intellectual property of an artist who had been loudly begging for the right to buy it herself. And he bought it from a man, Scott Borchetta, who Taylor had a notoriously toxic relationship with. For Scooter to act like a bewildered investor who just happened to stumble into a hornet's nest is industrial-grade gaslighting.
Your point about narcissism is valid, but the PR firm definitely wraps that narcissism in a strategic package. By claiming ignorance of her personal feelings, he is trying to frame the acquisition purely as a sterile fiduciary duty.
It's so gross.
He even said, you don't spend $300 million buying a label unless you're excited at the opportunity to work with her. He wants the historical record to show him as an enthusiastic collaborator who was unfairly maligned by an overly emotional artist. But the most calculated maneuver of the entire podcast wasn't the Taylor discussion.
Oh, the pivot.
It was the pivot that immediately followed. Knowing the Taylor comments would generate immense backlash, he seamlessly transitioned into profusely praising his new girlfriend, Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney.
Yes, the whiplash was incredible. Suddenly he's waxing poetic about how Sydney is extraordinary, kind, generous, and so down to earth.
Just laying it on thick.
He even went out of his way to defend her against critics who complain about her highly provocative scenes on Euphoria, stating that he fully respects her craft and separates the actor from the role. He is absolutely using her as a human shield.
100%.
It's like, look at me, I can't be a misogynistic villain who steals women's art. I'm a supportive, modern boyfriend to a beloved feminist actress.
Yeah.
It is so transparent.
It is the algorithmic manipulation of public sentiment. When his PR team monitors the metrics, they know Scooter Braun plus Taylor Swift generates overwhelming negative sentiment. So they introduce a high-volume positive variable, Sydney Sweeney.
Because everyone loves her right now.
Exactly. By speaking so glowingly of a rising, universally liked star, he forces the media outlets to run dual headline stories. It dilutes the toxicity of his brand by associating his name with her current cultural capital. It is a textbook attempt to launder his reputation through proximity to a well-liked woman.
Well, his attempts to launder his reputation aren't going to distract Taylor, because according to the blogs, she is currently consumed by an entirely different kind of control issue, wedding paranoia.
The rumor mill is spinning out of control on this one.
The rumors are accelerating about a July wedding with Travis Kelce, and people are leaking that the planning process has turned into a literal military operation. Taylor is reportedly feeling incredibly vulnerable and is battling massive trust issues because details regarding the date and the venue keep slipping out to the press.
When you operate at the apex of global fame, the concept of a private event requires the logistical infrastructure of a state dinner.
It really does.
The leaks are a fundamental breach of her inner circle security. It forces her team into a constant state of operational shifting. The reports state they have already had to scrap venues and alter timelines, turning what should be a joyous occasion into what insiders are calling a monstrous headache.
And to staunch the bleeding of information, Taylor has reportedly enforced a draconian no+1s policy for the guest list to eliminate any untested variables or potential spies.
Which is completely logical.
And this is where my brain completely short circuits. A guest, an actual invited guest, reportedly ran straight to the tabloids to complain about the rule.
The absolute nerve.
This unnamed person whined that their invite didn't allow a +1, called the restriction so awkward, and threatened to skip the wedding altogether. I am losing my mind. You have been handed the golden ticket to the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce wedding. This is the cultural zenith of the decade.
It's the Super Bowl of weddings.
And you are throwing a tantrum because you can't bring some random guy you've been dating for 3 weeks on Hinge. If it's too awkward, stay home, mail me your invitation. I will gladly show up solo, stand quietly by the ice sculpture, and speak to no one. The sheer entitlement of complaining about the security protocols of a billionaire's wedding is staggering.
It perfectly illustrates the intense friction between traditional social etiquette and the paranoid reality of hyperfame. In normal society, denying an adult a +1 to a wedding is considered a faux pas. But Taylor Swift does not live in normal society.
No, she lives in a fortress.
She cannot risk a +1 secretly recording her vows on an Apple Watch or selling the seating chart to a tabloid. The restriction is a necessary mechanism of control. Meanwhile, the bridal industry is already attempting to monetize the speculation. Experts like Dorothy Silver from Kleinfeld are predicting she will wear a timeless classic gown, while designers like Morgan McCullough hypothesize that Taylor will integrate her signature Easter eggs,
Oh, obviously.
perhaps sewing Travis's initials or a secret heirloom into the lining.
Oh, the Easter eggs are guaranteed. This is a woman who hides numerical codes in her Instagram captions. There is a 0% chance that dress doesn't feature a hidden 13 or a lyric embroidered into the hemline in invisible thread. But speaking of massive security operations, draconian rules, and families turning on each other, let's look across the pond at the actual monarchy.
The ultimate dysfunctional family.
And Snark Squad, a quick legal reminder. The royal family has a bottomless legal fund and loves a lawsuit, so everything we are about to discuss is strictly allegedly. We are merely unpacking the blogs.
Navigating royal reporting requires a healthy dose of skepticism, but the patterns emerging are undeniable. Prince Harry has allegedly suffered what insiders are calling one of his deepest blows yet.
What happened this time?
He and Meghan Markle were conspicuously, deliberately snubbed from the guest list for his cousin Peter Phillips's upcoming second wedding. The reports indicate Harry is humiliated because, throughout his turbulent youth, he deeply adored Peter, viewing him as one of the few grounded, trustworthy figures in the institution.
And the palace politics orchestrating the snub are darker than an episode of Succession. Apparently the call came from inside the house, specifically from Prince William.
William is consolidating power.
William allegedly made it clear he wanted the media spotlight entirely off the Sussexes, and he viewed inviting them as an unnecessary risk. William sees freezing them out as a final confirmation that Harry and Meghan cannot simply drift back into the family fold for photo ops whenever it suits them. And here's the wildest part. Harry allegedly blames King Charles for not stepping in.
Whoa, wait, there's a funny detail about that.
Wait, let me read the exact quote from the blogs because I need you to hear the chaos. The source claimed Harry blames his father for letting Prince Philip freeze him out of his wedding invitation. Prince Philip died in 2021. Unless King Charles is conducting seances in the basement of Buckingham Palace to finalize guest lists, the tabloids are fully glitching.
It's undoubtedly a journalistic typo by the original British outlet, conflating Peter Phillips, the cousin, with the late Prince Philip.
It has to be.
But it perfectly encapsulates the chaotic, rushed nature of royal gossip aggregation. However, the core truth beneath the typo is the shifting power dynamic. Prince William is drawing an impenetrable line in the sand. Interestingly, Kate Middleton is reportedly attempting to operate as the diplomatic back channel.
Poor Kate, just trying to keep the peace.
Sources suggest she wants to build bridges and has explicitly warned William that his hardline approach is pushing Harry into a corner, which she fears will only provoke more explosive tell-all retaliation.
Kate is sitting there thinking, please, I am trying to focus on my health. I cannot survive another 400-page memoir about who made who cry over a bridesmaid dress.
She doesn't want the headache.
But William is on a warpath. It's not just Harry he's exiling. William reportedly harbors a deep, childhood-rooted disgust for his uncle, Prince Andrew. He allegedly considers Andrew a creep and is the primary force working behind the scenes to forcibly evict Andrew from the royal lodge.
If you analytically map out Prince William's maneuvers over the last 18 months, you are not watching family drama. You're watching the ruthless corporate consolidation of power by a future CEO.
It's purely business.
The monarchy is a business, and William is systematically neutralizing liabilities. According to royal biographer Andrew Lowney, William refers to his uncle with heavy derogatory terms and views his continued presence on royal estates as a fundamental threat to the brand's survival. By orchestrating these geographical and social evictions, freezing Harry out of family events, and physically removing Andrew from his home, William is ensuring that when his reign begins, the toxic assets have already been liquidated.
William is acting like a mob boss cleaning house before an indictment. But Harry isn't just fighting his brother, he's fighting battles inside his own house in Montecito.
The Montecito drama is fascinating.
According to reports, right before Harry was supposed to fly to Geneva for the Lost Screen Memorial, he and Meghan got into a massive blowout argument. Meghan flat out refused to accompany him to the UK or Europe. As the tension escalated, she reportedly FaceTimed her mother, Doria, for backup,
Calling in the reinforcements.
and completely derailed Harry's quiet hopes for a family summer trip to Balmoral. Harry supposedly wanted King Charles to spend time with Archie and Lilibet in the Scottish Highlands, but Meghan received intelligence that William and Kate viewed her mere presence as Hollywood drama and didn't want their sanctuary polluted by it.
This represents a profound ideological impasse within the marriage. On one side, you have Harry, who is grappling with the undeniable pull of his heritage. He wants his children to possess a tangible connection to their lineage, to experience the specific cultural touchstones of a Balmoral summer.
Which is understandable.
But on the other side, Meghan is operating from a position of absolute self-preservation. If the back-channel intelligence confirms that her in-laws view her not as family, but as an invasive species bringing Hollywood drama, her refusal to subject herself or her children to that hostile environment is a logical, necessary boundary.
Honestly, I have never related to Meghan Markle more in my life.
Oh, really?
Yes, the stubbornness required to refuse a trip with your partner's toxic family is a universal language. If my in-laws were actively leaking stories to the British press against me and referring to me as a dramatic liability, you couldn't drag me to a drafty castle in Scotland with a team of horses.
It's a hard pass.
I would absolutely be staying in my multi-million-dollar California mansion, drinking my iced coffee and FaceTiming my mom too. Good for her for holding the line.
The domestic disputes of the ultra-wealthy often strip away the glamour to reveal deeply relatable core human conflicts regarding boundaries and respect, which serves as a perfect segue into another high-society marriage, this one deeply entrenched in the political sphere, though we are analyzing it purely for the mechanics of societal grift.
Purely the pop culture angle.
Right. Donald Trump Jr. recently married Bettina Anderson in a highly secretive 4D-guest ceremony on Little Pipe Cay in the Bahamas.
And Snark's what? I need to reiterate, we do not care about the politics here. Leave the red and blue on Twitter. We are explicitly impartial. We care strictly about the audacity of the wealth on display. Because the tea leaking out of this wedding is that Don Jr. reportedly didn't pay a single dime for the venue.
Not a cent.
Little Pipe Cay is a private island and was gifted to them for the weekend as a favor from a billionaire widow named Betsy Dingman. Also, as a little sprinkle of family drama, Baron Trump conspicuously skipped the entire event. But I cannot get past the free island.
What demands analytical attention here is the profound irony of the extreme wealth ecosystem. Little Pipe Cay is a 38-acre private paradise that has literally been featured in James Bond films. It is the pinnacle of exclusivity, yet the individuals with the highest astronomical net worths are frequently the ones entirely insulated from paying market value.
They get everything for free.
Exactly. The source describing the event framed it as society generosity rather than celebrity excess. That phrasing is key. It highlights a shadow barter economy. At that echelon of wealth, you don't write a check to rent an island, you leverage a multi-generational social connection. It is the exchange of access and favors, a currency completely invisible to the middle class that allows the ultra-rich to circumvent standard financial transactions.
Society generosity. That is the most pretentious exclusionary phrase I have ever heard, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. I'm picturing myself trying to use society generosity at the grocery store.
Good luck with that.
Imagine having a Rolodex so powerful that you can just call up your billionaire friend Betsy and say, "Hey babes, need a James Bond island for the weekend to get hitched? Can you leave the keys under the mat? I am drowning in dental school loans, and these people are swapping private islands like they are Tupperware."
It's a different reality.
But speaking of marriages, we need to pivot to the X-Files, because the heavyweights of Hollywood are currently going through the ringer, and the PR strategies are fascinating.
The dissolution of a Hollywood marriage is rarely just a personal tragedy. It is an incredibly complex corporate restructuring. How a celebrity manages their public image in the immediate aftermath of a split dictates their market value for the next decade. Let's examine Jennifer Lopez.
J-Lo is putting on a clinic. She was just on Jimmy Kimmel Live promoting her new Netflix movie, and Jimmy Kimmel, with zero hesitation, flat out asked her if she was single.
He went right for it.
She said yes, but before he could even finish his next thought, she interrupted him to say, "I should have done it sooner. I've been doing it all wrong." She boldly proclaimed that being single is fantastic right now. Meanwhile, anonymous insiders are simultaneously leaking to the press that her finding a new romance would actually relieve Ben Affleck's lingering guilt over filing for the divorce.
Let's dissect the phrase, "I've been doing it all wrong." This is a remarkably candid, calculated admission from a woman whose entire global brand has been heavily tethered to the concept of grand, sweeping romantic narratives and high-profile serial monogamy.
She loves being in love.
By walking onto a late-night talk show and loudly, joyfully embracing her single status, she is aggressively taking control of the post-divorce narrative. She is refusing to let the media paint her as the tragic left-behind aging wife. If she successfully frames her singlehood as an empowering revelation rather than a punishment for a failed marriage, she wins the PR cycle.
She looks amazing doing it, too.
And that leak about Ben's guilt, that is a classic strategic plant by his team. It is designed to make him look empathetic and tortured, while simultaneously confirming to the public that he was the one who pulled the plug, preserving his autonomy.
It's all a chess game, but the part of the J-Lo story that actually made me stop and feel something real was when she started talking about her kids. She admitted she has been crying for 2 months straight because her twins, Max and Em, are graduating high school and heading off to different colleges.
That's a huge transition.
She said it took her 2 full days just to write the parent dedication for their yearbook because she couldn't stop sobbing through it. And the kicker, she is personally helping them move into their dorms. She said she is bringing old sheets and towels from her own house.
Which is such a funny visual.
I had this intense visual spiral, like, picture Jennifer Lopez, a woman who wears archival Versace to get coffee, hauling a plastic Target bed in a bag up 3 flights of stairs into a cinder block dorm room that smells like stale beer. It is the most profoundly humanizing thing she has ever said.
The juxtaposition is brilliant, whether it's intentional PR or just raw honesty. Placing J-Lo, the untouchable, hyper-glamorous diva, into the deeply mundane, universally frustrating task of a college dorm moving in, grounds her immediately.
It totally does.
It reconnects her with middle America at a time when her personal life has been under intense, often hostile, scrutiny. It reminds the audience that beneath the millions of dollars and the paparazzi flashes, she is a mother facing the very real, very agonizing psychological hurdle of the empty nest. It creates instant empathy.
It genuinely made my heart ache for her. But you know who isn't crying over their ex? Pete Davidson.
Oh, Pete.
He just made an appearance on Nikki Glazer's podcast, and he spent an uncomfortable amount of time just absolutely gushing over his ex, Kim Kardashian. Mind you, they dated for what, maybe 9 months?
Barely a blip.
But he is on mic calling her superhuman, praising her relentless work ethic, her ability to ignore the media noise and get things done. He even hyped up her acting skills in American Horror Story, claiming he told her, "F yeah, you're so good at it."
This is where we need to apply a cynical lens and examine the specific timing of this sudden outpouring of praise. Pete Davidson rarely does long-form, earnest podcast interviews where he freely and positively discusses his high-profile exes. Why choose to do it now? We have to look at the larger board.
Always look at the board.
Kim Kardashian is currently making headlines because she is reportedly dating Formula One superstar Lewis Hamilton. Pete Davidson, concurrently, just split from his girlfriend of over a year, Elsie Hewitt, with whom he allegedly shares a child.
Exactly. The timing is painfully transparent. He is newly single. Kim has leveled up with a massive global athlete, and suddenly Batty's finding his way to a microphone to call her superhuman. I refuse to believe this is just friendly nostalgia. Is he trying to throw a wrench into her new dynamic with Hamilton?
Probably not effectively, but he might try.
Is he just desperately trying to get her attention? Or, and this is my theory, is he just trying to remind the industry and the public that he once managed to date one of the most famous, unattainable women in the world to boost his own stock while he's back on the market? It feels entirely calculated.
Your theory is the most analytically sound. It is an exercise in strategic brand association. When your current relationship ends and your cultural momentum is dipping, publicly praising a highly successful, ubiquitous ex-partner subtly reminds the industry of your pedigree.
He's reminding people he was in the inner circle.
Exactly. It is a backdoor method of inserting himself back into the Kardashian news cycle and the algorithm without appearing aggressively hostile or pathetic. It's a subtle leverage of her fame to buoy his own.
Well, if we are talking about calculated moves to completely erase an ex from the narrative, the Jolie Pitt children are writing the textbook. This is genuinely brutal to watch unfold.
It's unprecedented, really.
24-year-old Maddox has officially filed the legal paperwork to drop Pitt from his last name. He is petitioning the court to be legally known solely as Maddox Javon Jolie. And he's not waiting for the judge's stamp, he is already using it professionally. He recently worked as an assistant director on Angelina's new movie, Couture, and the official credits simply list him as Maddox Jolie.
It is a devastating, permanent public repudiation of a parent. And the analytical weight compounds when you realize he is not acting alone. Shiloh filed the legal paperwork to change her name the moment she turned 18.
Right on her birthday.
Zahara publicly introduced herself at her Spelman College sorority induction strictly as Zahara Marley Jolie. And Vivian dropped the Pitt from her credit in the playbill of a Broadway production she assisted on. When 4 of your children systematically, legally, and publicly sever their nominal tie to you, it speaks volumes about the severe internal toxicity of the family dynamic. A dynamic that armies of lawyers and PR teams have spent 8 years trying to obscure.
8 years. This divorce has been dragging through the courts for nearly a decade. It's a war of attrition. And now Angelina is reportedly plotting her final escape. Sources are saying she is planning to move to Europe, escape Los Angeles completely, and eventually find a new partner.
I don't blame her.
But she has instituted one unbreakable rule for her future dating life. They absolutely cannot be an actor or, frankly, anyone in the entertainment industry. She wants someone of similar means, perhaps a businessman, but she is entirely done with Hollywood men. And honestly, I applaud her.
It's the healthiest choice.
Get out of that toxic bubble. Buy a villa in Tuscany and date a private equity guy who doesn't care about his lighting or his IMDb page.
It's a profound pivot that signals the death of an era. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were the absolute apex predators of Hollywood royalty. They were the sun the rest of the industry orbited. By decreeing she will no longer date actors and expressing a desire to physically flee Los Angeles, she is issuing a total rejection of the ecosystem that built her wealth and fame.
She wants out.
And understandably so, because that same ecosystem has served as the agonizing, very public stage for her decade-long traumatic divorce. She is actively prioritizing privacy over prominence, seeking to divest herself from the machinery of fame.
I hope she finds peace in a vineyard somewhere. But speaking of things taking a decade, how about 3 decades? Gayle King was recently a guest on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and she opened up about the agonizing moment she caught her ex-husband, William Bumpus, cheating on her with a woman she considered a friend.
This story is wild.
They divorced in 1993. Let me repeat that, 1993. And just this week, 30 years later, William issues a public apology. And where does he issue this solemn apology? To TMZ.
Of all the outlets.
He released a statement taking ownership of the pain he caused Gayle, their children, and their grandchildren. Gayle responded to TMZ, saying she was surprised he even spoke to the media after all this time, but that she appreciated the closure. I am fundamentally incapable of processing this. A man took 3 business decades to apologize for infidelity.
33 years, to be mathematically precise. Analytically, delivering a deeply personal apology 3 decades late, and choosing a tabloid platform like TMZ to be the conduit for it, is a bizarre strategic choice.
It makes no sense.
It immediately raises the question of motivation. Why now? Did Gayle's appearance on Call Her Daddy, which commands a massive, highly engaged younger demographic, reignite the public scrutiny to a point where his reputation was threatened? Did he feel professionally or personally cornered into responding to control the damage?
Probably.
Gayle, however, handled it with masterclass media savvy. She didn't attack him for the absurd delay. She simply noted her surprise, gracefully accepted the statement, and moved on, permanently retaining the high ground while letting his bizarre timing speak for itself.
I do not possess that level of grace. If my ex waited 33 years to apologize to TMZ, I would send a certified invoice for 3 decades of emotional distress and compound interest. I would be petty.
You absolutely would.
But you know who has zero filter and embraces the petty? Let's suckle right back to our queen, Madonna. Because we need to give her her flowers for breaking the internet. Sitting on Grindr, whispering John Kennedy Jr. when asked for her best encounter, I am still spiraling.
It is the ultimate intersection of pop culture mythology and political history. Rumors regarding Madonna and JFK Jr. having a brief, intense relationship in the late 1980s have circulated for decades. But to have her explicitly confirm it now and to boldly rank it as her absolute best is a phenomenal piece of viral marketing.
That's iconic.
It leverages nostalgia and shock value simultaneously.
A friend of JFK Jr.'s even validated it recently in an oral biography, claiming Madonna aggressively pursued him, that he was obsessed with her body, and that it was entirely built on intense physical attraction. But hearing Madonna herself just casually drop that truth bomb, the internet is fundamentally broken. I am so thrilled she's in her late 60s, completely unbothered, and just dispensing historical sex tea to promote an album. We should all aspire to that level of freedom.
Let's transition into our quick hit segment, because we have a few more pieces of rapid-fire pop culture chaos to unpack before we have to put on our sensible, cool anti-armor and face the teenagers at this birthday party.
Rapid fire. First up, NBA superstar Anthony Edwards is currently embroiled in a massive family court battle with his child's mother, Alexandria Desroches. The court documents were unsealed, revealing his income, and I literally tried to do the math on my phone and the calculator crashed.
It's a lot of zeros.
He has a gross income of $3.3 million a month. Every 30 days, $3.3 million hits his accounts, and the courts have ordered him to pay $12,500 a month in child support. My brain cannot comprehend the scale of that wealth. And the messiest part, he is simultaneously fighting another paternity suit with a different ex, Ayesha Howard. The financial chaos is staggering.
From a purely legal and financial perspective, a gross monthly income of $3.3 million aligns perfectly with his recently signed $260 million NBA Supermax contract.
It's unfathomable.
To the average person, the disparity between earning millions a month and paying $12,500 in child support seems vastly disproportionate. However, it is standard practice in family court when dealing with ultra-high net worth individuals. The courts cap the support to what they define as the reasonable needs of the child, rather than enforcing a strict percentage of the father's astronomical wealth to prevent child support from becoming disguised spousal support.
Which I guess makes legal sense, but still.
Still, from a brand management standpoint, battling two simultaneous highly public paternity suits is a catastrophic failure of personal infrastructure for a rising franchise face.
Catastrophic is the only word for it. Moving on. Kanye West and Travis Scott. They had this massive, highly anticipated concert scheduled in Reggio Emilia, Italy. But the Italian government completely pulled the plug.
They shut it down.
The local Jewish communities lodged formal complaints with the government regarding Kanye's presence, and the regional officials cited insurmountable crowd security issues and diplomatic concerns, effectively banning them from performing.
What you are witnessing here are the tangible international consequences of unchecked public rhetoric. Despite Kanye's recent attempts at apology tours and highly publicized visits to Jewish cultural centers, international governments are proving significantly less forgiving than the American entertainment industry.
They aren't playing around.
When a regional prefect in a foreign country steps in to actively cancel a massive revenue-generating event, it demonstrates that his personal brand is no longer just controversial. It is viewed by state actors as an actionable security and diplomatic liability. The financial fallout of losing European tour routing is immense.
Actions have consequences. Now, for something that is actually bringing me joy, Keke Palmer at the highly prestigious Hollywood Reporter Comedy Actress Roundtable. She is sitting at this table with absolute legends, Lisa Kudrow, Quinta Brunson, Hannah Einbinder.
A very serious room.
They get into a discussion about the mechanics of potty humor in comedy, and out of absolutely nowhere, Keke drops a reference to Two Girls, One Cup with a completely straight face. At an Emmy campaign roundtable, the video is cinematic perfection. Quinta Brunson screaming "Geek" in pure, exhausted disappointment while Hannah Einbinder loses her mind laughing is the funniest 15 seconds of video I have seen all year. Keke Palmer is a national treasure.
It was a brilliant, calculated disruption of an incredibly self-serious, sanitized industry format. Keke Palmer understands the mechanics of the internet economy better than almost any working actor today.
She is a mastermind.
She knows exactly what she's doing. By dropping a high shock value early internet meme reference into a room full of prestige comedic actresses, she guaranteed that the clip would achieve massive viral reach on Twitter and TikTok. It was effortless scene stealing that drove more traffic to the roundtable than any nuanced discussion about the craft of acting ever could.
She knows how to feed the algorithm. Speaking of people who know exactly what they are doing, Paul Rudd was recently interviewed on the Therapist podcast with Jake Shane, and Jake finally asked him the question we all want answered. He asked point blank about the endless internet rumors that Rudd uses Botox because the man simply refuses to age.
He's a vampire.
Rudd laughed, firmly said no, and credited his eternal youth to having pure darkness inside his soul and applying a little bit of daily moisturizer. Pure darkness. I am cackling.
Paul Rudd, leveraging his own internet lore, is a brilliant deflection tactic. He knows he is the center of the ageless vampire meme. By jokingly attributing his appearance to pure darkness, he leans into the absurdity of the internet's obsession with him without ever coming off as vain, defensive, or overly obsessed with his own looks. It's the perfect self-deprecating PR shield.
Okay, let's talk about the card Jenners. The blogs just leaked Kendall Jenner's strict prerequisite for dating actor Jacob Elordi. Apparently, the romance is blossoming, but Kendall's absolute non-negotiable rule is that whoever she dates must fit in flawlessly with her close-knit friend group and, specifically, her sister Kylie. It is not about how famous he is, it was entirely about whether he ruins the vibe of the group chat.
It is a deeply pragmatic, almost corporate approach to dating when you exist in a highly insular, high-profile bubble. To the Jenner family, their inner circle is not just a social group, it is their safe harbor from the press and their primary business brain trust.
It's the board of directors.
Exactly. Introducing a chaotic, unpredictable element into that specific group disrupts their entire emotional and financial ecosystem. Jacob Elordi, who is routinely described by insiders as easygoing, seems to have successfully passed the rigorous vetting process conducted by Kylie and Timothée Chalamet.
Next, Jimmy Kimmel stirring the pot on late-night TV. During his monologue, he joked that the newly appointed Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is going to be the next one fired from the administration. The setup for the joke was that Hegseth allegedly got drunk, confused Poland and Germany on a map, and accidentally canceled the deployment of 4,000 troops.
Again, we are completely politically neutral here.
100%. We are just looking at the late-night comedy angle. Kimmel joked that Donald Trump knows more about the geography of Poland than his own secretary, and blamed the entire international incident on 16 Coors Lights.
From a media analysis perspective, late-night hosts utilizing alleged geopolitical blunders as comedic fodder is standard historical practice. Kimmel is capitalizing on the publicly reported internal friction within the cabinet to generate viral monologue clips, highlighting the ongoing tension and alleged instability within the administration's high-level staffing choices. It's purely a PR observation.
And finally, let's end with Gwyneth Paltrow. She sat down on the Today Show and admitted that her acting career took a major backseat over the last decade, primarily because she was raising her kids, Apple and Moses, as a single mother.
She's been gone for a while.
She explained that the grueling hours of a film set simply weren't compatible with school drop-offs and being present. But now that her kids have, in her words, abandoned her for college and she is officially an empty nester, she is back. She's currently filming Marty Supreme alongside Timothée Chalamet. We absolutely love a comeback era.
It is a highly strategic narrative reset for Gwyneth. For the past decade, she has been defined in the public consciousness almost exclusively by Goop and the controversies surrounding her luxury wellness empire.
The jade eggs and everything.
Right. By reframing her long absence from the screen not as a lack of industry interest, but as a dedicated, intentional maternal sacrifice, she re-enters the acting sphere with a highly relatable, sympathetic backstory. Partnering with a massive, critically acclaimed current star like Chalamet for her return vehicle is a very calculated move to instantly reestablish her Hollywood credibility and relevance.
Babes, that is it. We have unpacked the chaos, we have analyzed the mechanics, and now we literally have to go put on some sensible wedges and go face a house full of sugar-fueled 14-year-olds.
Please pray for our survival.
Thank you to the Snark squad for hanging out with us this morning. We wish you an absolute amazing weekend.
We want to hear your thoughts down in the comments. What life lesson did you learn this week? Have you ever attempted Pilates? And more importantly, did you survive the reformer intact?
Yes, please validate me and tell me I'm not the only one crying on that machine. Also, what celebrity story shocked you the most today? Was it the Mormon wives sending apology bouquets? Madonna's Grindr confession? Tell us everything, and let us know what you were doing this weekend.
Remind them to like, comment, subscribe, and share the podcast with their messiest bestie.
We'll be back soon with updates from the birthday party chaos.
Before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to ponder over your weekend iced coffee. Today, we analyze the profound weight of the Jolie Pitt children legally and publicly severing ties with their father. We also dissected Scooter Braun, a man who spent $300 million to own someone else's legacy while simultaneously claiming to be the misunderstood victim.
So true.
It begs a profound question about the nature of power and memory. What actually defines our legacy? Is it the massive corporate empires and bank accounts we build, the lucrative catalogs we purchase, the global fame we achieve? Or is it, at the very end of the day, simply how we treat the people in our own homes when the cameras are finally turned off?
Oof, that is heavy. That is the real tea right there. Stay messy, stay shady. And babes, we will see you on the Snark side.